page, you question whether treason is indeed an appropriate punishment. But I ask you to weigh these impacts, the impacts of the negation, with those of the affirmation, protecting lives. I will always side with the latter, and you should too. But let's understand that today's legislation is fundamentally not unjust. And this is true because it incites appropriate legal precedent. Now, many senators have come before you, like Mr. Slaughter, Samuels, and Gilson, and they've questioned whether today's legislation can apply to PMCs and whether we can limit the political speech of our citizens. Now, even Ms. Schwartz on your own side cited one Supreme Court case, Garrotti v. Cibolis, which allows the federal government to limit the freedom of speech of those members receiving government funds, like those in our military. But even if you don't buy the impact of this Supreme Court case, or the Supreme Court case Mr. Gilson brought before you, a 2010 case that upholds this ability for us to protect the political speech, let's look to the case Mr. Keller proposed to us just yesterday, a 2011 Supreme Court decision that supersedes all of these, that not only emphasizes this Congress's ability to maintain the professional military capacity of not only our soldiers and our PMCs, but also questions the constitutionality of this type of legislation. It's because new legal precedents are on the horizon. Today's legislation is ultimately going to protect American soldiers in the future. It isn't unjust, and the legal precedents are there. I urge you to stand with me and affirm, because I have faith in the legislation.
For the judges, time of speech is 3 minutes and 7 seconds. Questions, please rise. Senator Bernstein, Senator Block.
Thank you. Would the senators kill, would the senators kill because Scott Mueller released their coordinates, or because he talked about President Obama?
I don't really think they're mutually exclusive. I ultimately think that a precedent has to be set to limit this type of speech, because we've seen in the past that it's
so do we need a major leaking of where our soldiers are, where our informants are, or all types of political speech?
I think we need to protect all types of political speech, not only to set a precedent, but also to protect them in the future.
Who would be killed if a soldier says, I don't like President Obama, or I don't like Senator
That's not the point, Mr. Bernstein. The
That
point
is
is
the
that we
point.
ultimately have to set a precedent that
So
we're
we
not
have
going to
to
allow our
eliminate
soldiers
all
to
political
go
bias.
around and say any type of information that the international community has never heard.
Ms. Rodriguez, if someone wants to intentionally leak information about the military, how will this stop them?
Please repeat that.
If someone wants to intentionally leak information about our military, how will this stop
Well, we're
them?
eliminating their ability to express their public
Okay, but
opinion.
it's already illegal now for the military.
You're right, it absolutely is.
Okay, so is this going to change their incentive to leak?
Absolutely, because it's not only is it increasing the punishment, but it's fundamentally changing our entire view on this type of freedom of speech and this freedom of
Okay,
speech and how
but
it
does
applies
it
to our
change the
military
people's
personnel.
view who are actually giving
I
them
absolutely do. I think the increase in punishment as
If
well
they
as legal
already
precedent
think that
sets will
information
change their information.
There's no motion.
Thank you, Mr.
Mr. Speaker, speaking right here. See, last week